Our way out. Our good news is we have a way out. We must multitask at the greatest level. First and foremost, at the top of our list is always the health and safety of our military men and women. We must always give them the very best of what they need in battle, and health care for our wounded here at home, and for their life after military duties. From what we have seen and heard, this is not being done. We, the people, must take back our country in 2012, or the damage that will be done will be irreversible. Return to our roots, back to the day our country was born as a conservative republic, a government that enforces the law of the land so we may enjoy the fruits of our labor.
Socialism is a philosophy of failure, the creed of ignorance, and the gospel of envy. Its inherent virtue is the equal sharing of misery. Winston Churchill.
Never give up our constitutional right to bear arms.
The strongest reason for people to retain the right to keep and bear arms is, as a last resort, to protect themselves against tyranny in government. Thomas Jefferson.
Retrieve all our money, even the money that is missing. Bring those to justice who have committed a crime against our country, and that means all the way to the White House. A complete, itemized audit of our government with transparency. We, the people, want to know who and what we are paying for. We must go to the private sector of our country for help in government reform. Tax reform at both the state and federal level. It's filled with nothing but corruption, and if we're truthful with ourselves, it needs to be completely thrown out, and we need to start over. Bring our industries back to America. They've taken jobs away from Americans and given them to other countries for cheaper labor and greater profits. You must return home. Your nation and people need you. We need stronger new laws and regulations on banks and Wall Street. If we don't, there will be another financial meltdown. Past history has proven that. Plan and build for the future in technology, infrastructure, industry, energy, education, healthcare, retirement, and with our children, for they are the future.
A child miseducated is a child lost. John F. Kennedy.
Put 30 million unemployed Americans back to work. Infrastructure is the quickest way to stimulate our construction trades, since housing and commercial construction is a thing of the past for at least the next 10 years. We all should know by now that the buying and selling of homes, the construction of residential and commercial properties, the manufacturing of products for construction, and the process of lending money for housing and construction projects is a huge part of our economy. Without a true stimulus package for construction, there will be no quick recovery of this recession. All of the nationwide jobs that we're going to share with you either save or make us money. Our first nationwide project is infrastructure. We have not maintained or improved our infrastructure on a nationwide level. On our network of roads, highways, bridges, railways, water supply and resources, wastewater treatment plants, gas and electric delivery systems, hazardous waste, and recycling, we have fallen years behind. In the past 30 years, we have had 25 bridges collapse, and most of the bridges in the U.S. were built with a 50-year lifespan. That has come due. The recently completed Hoover Dam Bypass Bridge is a great example of architectural design and technology with a willingness to improve. Worldwide construction jobs are being built today. From Russia's Sakhalin oil and gas drilling in the North Pacific, the Nord Stream gas pipeline and underground gas storage in the Netherlands, $50 billion of new construction in Abu Dhabi, the skyscrapers and hotels of Dubai, Peru's dam tunnel, the expansion of the Panama Canal, the Hong Kong Bridge, China's $62 billion water transfer project and the $24 billion Three Gorges Dam, Singapore's Sky Park and Deep Sewage Station, and the list goes on. It seems like all we're building are casinos and ballpark stadiums, and on both of them we lose money the moment we walk in. What is it costing us for the unemployment of 17% or 30 million unemployed Americans? We have an overabundance of work and infrastructure in every city of the United States, and a workforce that is ready to go to work. We've spent trillions of dollars on stimulus packages and bailouts that have done nothing to put 30 million unemployed Americans back to work. Infrastructure throughout the nation would create over 2 million new jobs. Putting Americans back to work means we have Americans spending money, and that would stimulate the return of small businesses, and that means more jobs.
America was not built on fear. America was built on courage, on imagination, and an unbeatable determination to do the job at hand. Harry S. Truman.
The second nationwide project is recycling. Our plan for recycling is for a federal law mandating the elimination of all landfills. This includes burying any and all trash commercially or residentially. We have to recycle everything we make or import. Across the United States, it will take 10,000 new facilities to recycle everything we throw away. We need to be the world's leader, an example of recycling. It is estimated that we have 400 million tons of waste, and only 30% is recycled. There is 1 billion tons of waste worldwide. 20% of the world's plastic ends up in our oceans. We're now finding plastic in our food supply of fish. We all know we should have done this 20 years ago. We want it to be mandatory, so it will force us to act quickly. Let's find the best recycling plant we have, update it, leave room for expansion, and get to building. Our recycling plan would create over 1 million new jobs. Our third nationwide project is securing our borders. This is not about offending our neighbors to the north or south or Americans who are Hispanic. This is about legal U.S. citizens defending and protecting their country from the invasion of illegal law-breaking people. It's not profiling or discrimination. It's about securing our nation and the welfare of our people. We have roughly 2,000 miles to the south, with about 1,000 miles of vehicle and pedestrian fencing done. The fence that is being built is a perfect example of those in government approving a project without any foresight, without architectural design, engineering, advice from experts, and the mental capability of knowing what will or will not work. The fence we're building right now doesn't work. Illegals cut holes in the fence or throw ropes with hooks and climb over. We need new federal laws prohibiting the hiring of illegal aliens with stiff penalties for all lawbreakers. We have to make the risk not worth the reward, or new laws will not work. No matter what laws we pass and enforce, it will not stop terrorists. We are the #1 target for terrorists, and it's time to build a wall. Our plan is to build a 12-foot high, 2-foot thick concrete security wall. It will have razor security wire on top, cameras, motion sensors, ground sensors, and every mile will have solar lighting. Our wall will have all the latest technology along with unmanned aerial drones. The wall must be built to last centuries and accent our landscape as best as possible. For the Border Patrol to do their job properly and efficiently, we will need a 2-lane road the length of our southern border. The construction cost for the building of the wall will be less than the cost of the illegal aliens in our country per year. That means over a 6-year period, we would save over $2 trillion. Our fourth nationwide project is the end of the mining and burning of coal. Now, we're not for the taking of jobs, but the truth needs to be told. The mining and burning of coal is not only a threat to our nation, but also a threat to the whole world. In our states of Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia, mountaintop removal and valley fill coal mining are the same as strip mining on steroids. Over 1.4 million acres have been mined. That is more landmass than the state of Delaware. The forests are cleared. High explosives blast up to 800 feet of mountaintop. Heavy equipment moves the soil to adjacent valleys. Giant dragline machinery extracts the coal, and off to processing it goes. The Environmental Protection Agency has estimated that over 2,200 square miles of Appalachian forests have been cleared, and valley fills have buried over 800 miles of Appalachian streams. Coal companies are supposed to reclaim land, but all too often, mine sites are left stripped and bare. The valleys that were filled in block the natural flow of fresh water streams. Even where attempts to replant vegetation have been made, the mountain is never again returned to its healthy state. The aftermath of the process of washing coal results in thousands of gallons of contaminated water that looks like black sludge or slurry. This sludge is often stored behind earth dams the size of ponds or small lakes. Often this black sludge gets into the natural water and contaminates all water supplies going downstream. It's an environmental disaster from start to finish and has no place in the future of the United States. The industries that take part in the burning of coal in the United States and the world are the undisputed champions of pollution worldwide, and there is nothing that compares. By 2012, there will be 7,500 coal-fired power plants in 79 countries, pumping out 9 billion tons of CO2 emissions annually. The top 15 nations account for 75% of the world's CO2 emissions. So we know what causes CO2 emissions, and we know where it's coming from, but we're unwilling to fix it. We are killing the world we live in, and those in charge of industries and government are blinded by power, corruption, and money. Their wallets are more important than the air we breathe. We must convert all coal-burning industries over to natural gas. It burns much cleaner, and there's plenty of it. We all know there's much more we need to do for our environment, and we must have the desire and the eagerness to correct the wrong we all have done.
We must restore and preserve the world we live in. It's the only one we have. We the people.
Our fifth nationwide job is energy. Are we going to be a nation that depends on a power grid of electricity that is supplied by coal, nuclear power, solar farms, or millions of wind turbines? We have great resources in our country, and it's time we put them to use. Our plan is for the use of hydroelectric power on a nationwide scale. This construction project will be the greatest achievement known to man and will take over 40 years to complete. We will need the participation of other countries and their skilled workforce to help us to dig and bore over 2,400 miles of underground tunnels. Both Lake Superior and Lake Michigan are almost the size of the state of Florida. That is an enormous amount of fresh water. Our plan is to bore a tunnel from Lake Michigan to Lake Powell and then back to Lake Michigan. This tunnel will have a diameter of 70 feet or more. It could have 12 or more 6-foot diameter steel water pipes, each having hydroelectric turbines every 25 to 50 miles. That is 100 times the electrical output of all the power plants in the state of California. All underground tunnels have problems with groundwater, but for this project, we want groundwater. 1,200 miles of tunnels gathering groundwater and pumping it to Lake Powell will help our western states with their water shortage. We want green, and you can't get any greener than hydroelectric power. Our electric energy plan will take us into the 22nd century. It would not only stimulate our economy, but the whole world's. We could have over 40 years of work for the entire nation, and all of these projects either save or make us money. There would be enough jobs for everyone, and the only excuse for not having a job is laziness. Our way out of this financial disaster is to work hard, break a sweat, get paid for your labor, pay your bills, and the natural flow of money from hand to hand will restore the jobs that were lost. Take away greed and corruption, add common sense and the wisdom and knowledge to plan for the future. If the United States would lead, the world will follow.
It's in our hands to restore our land. One flag, one language, one country. We the people.